What's up guys, so welcome to another Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. Today against my friend Sienna we decided to have an NU tier match, and looking at Sienna's team, she's actually got a pretty interesting team even for NU. So Sienna's rocking out with the Octillery, ORAS, Butterfree, Fletchinder, Maractus, and the Wobbuffet. So obvious threats on her team, definitely the ORAS if it's Choice Scarfed, it's going to be fast as hell, plus thanks to its ability to Refrigerate, its Hyper Voice is going to be doing a dickload of damage. Butterfree can also be a threat if it packs the Stun Spore or Sleep Powder. I definitely don't want my teammates getting put to sleep or paralyzed. Plus I think Butterfree gets Quiver Dance, which, much like Vivillon, can definitely be a threat if it starts setting up on me. Fletchinder is another obvious threat because Fletchinder is basically just a baby Talonflame, and I think we all know how Talonflame is in OU. And finally Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet is the bane of my existence. I hate every time I come across Wobbuffet. Seriously, who the hell made the decision to let Wobbuffet in NU? Like, wasn't it just a generation or two ago that Wobbuffet was like Ubers? So who the hell decided that this thing needs to be NU? Seriously. Wobbuffet is just a pain in the ass. If played correctly, Wobbuffet can almost guarantee at least one kill before it goes down with Counter and Mirror Coat. It's just a pain in the ass to deal with, but looking at my team, I'm packing the Electrode, Croconaw, Kecleon, Weezing, Gogoat, and Pinsir. This was definitely a fun game, guys. Every time I battle Sienna, it's always fun, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. So the battle begins as my opponent leads off with her Punch Me, the Wobbuffet, and I lead off with Bustanut, the Electrode. Now, it's actually a pretty good thing that I led off with Electrode because due to Wobbuffet's ability Shadow Tag, the only way you can switch out is with moves like U-Turn or Volt Switch. So my Volt Switch is actually going to do a decent chunk of damage considering how bulky Wobbuffet is, but I am Choice Specs Electrode, so that's probably why. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out and bring out Gadget the Gogoat, who's going to take this Mirror Coat not very well at all. So Mirror Coat and Counter, they basically redirect 2 times the damage that they take back at me, so I definitely have to be weary of that. So we're both going to take a turn of Leftovers Recovery here, as I make a pretty rough play here. I go for the Milk Drink just to restore some health, as my opponent makes a flawless play here by going for the Encore, so now I'm stuck in a Milk Drink and I can't really move. Had she not gone for the Encore, I actually could have set up pretty easily on this Wobbuffet. As long as you don't really hurt Wobbuffet, it can't really do too much to you. So I pretty much could have easily set up on it, but she's going to get another round of Leftovers Recovery, and she's going to switch out here, bringing out Tiny Feet, the Fletchinder, which is pretty bad for me. I'm actually going to stay in and I go for another round of Milk Drink, so obviously here I'm going to have to switch out because I do not want to take a super effective Acrobatics from this Fletchinder, as I'm pretty sure it would one-shot my Gogoat, so I'm going to switch out. I'm going to go out into my defensive wall, my Weezing here, as my opponent goes for the Will-O-Wisp on the switch. Now, if anybody on my team had to get burned, I would prefer it to be Weezing, so I'm actually not too mad about this burn, because Weezing is a special attacker, not a physical attacker, so the attack drop doesn't matter. Plus, I do have the Black Sludge for recovery. So now my opponent's going to bring out Sleeping the ORAS, which is pretty scary. I go for the Flamethrower on the switch, but it does adorable damage to this ORAS, so I'm obviously going to have to switch here because Weezing, being a physically defensive wall, does not want to take a special attack from this ORAS whatsoever, so I'm going to switch out. I'm going to bring out Kecleon, which is Assault Vested. It is my special defense wall on this team, so because of the Assault Vest, I'm pretty sure that I can live any hit relatively well. My opponent goes for the Ancient Power on the switch here, which thankfully for me, she does not get the 10% all-stat boost. So that would be really scary if she did, but she follows up with a Hyper Voice, and it does a dickload of damage to me. I was actually surprised. But I'm going to go for the Power Up Punch here. It is 4 times super effective against ORAS. It does a dickload of damage to her, and I'm just going to follow that up with a Shadow Sneak here. It is priority, so I am going to outspeed and take out the ORAS, so I was definitely happy to get this thing out of here. I'm really glad that it wasn't Choice Scarf, because that thing could have been a problem. So now my opponent's going to bring out her Butterfree, and I was actually really surprised. She went for the Quiver Dance right away instead of going for like the Sleep Powder or Stun Spore or whatever, but yeah, she's going to set up a Quiver Dance, and I kind of make a really rough play again. I go for the Drain Punch, which is like 4 times resisted by this Butterfree, so I get a little bit of HP back, but I really probably should have just gone for 2 Shadow Sneaks. But I do actually luck out here. I go for Shadow Sneak, which is, again, is priority, so I am going to outspeed. I actually really luck out. I get a crit here, which takes out the Butterfree. Now, in the long run of this battle, I don't think that crit mattered too much. I'm pretty sure a Kecleon, who's Assault Vested, could take a +1 attack from that Butterfree, so I'm not sure if that crit mattered too much. But she's going to bring out her Wobbuffet again, and I go for the Power Up Punch because I know I would be able to live the counter. And that'll put me at +2 attack. So she is going to go for counter, does a decent chunk to me. And now that I'm at +2 attack, I'm pretty confident that a +2 Sucker Punch, which is super effective, will take out the Wobbuffet. So I do go for the Sucker Punch, get the Protean boost, and thankfully that is going to take out the Wobbuffet. So now Wobbuffet and the ORAS are gone. And looking at the remnants of our team, the only thing I really have to worry about is Tiny Feet the Fletchinder here, which she is going to bring in. And she is going to go for the Acrobatics. So, unfortunately for me, Kecleon's going to go down here. I probably could have saved Kecleon for later, but, I mean, honestly, I didn't really need Kecleon all that bad. So now I'm going to bring out Bustanut the Electrode again, and I'm about to Bustanut all over Tiny Feet, but she's actually going to switch out fearing the Electric type attack. She brings out Maractus, who can take it pretty well. I did predict the switch, so I did go for the Volt switch, so I'm basically maintaining all of the momentum here. So I'm going to be able to switch out. And because I see that she brought in Maractus, I can bring out whatever on my team that can deal with this pretty effectively. So I'm going to bring out Dick Pinch, the Pinsir here. Shout out to Hayden, I love his videos, so I had to make a Dick Pinch of my own. And I'm just going to go for the super effective X Scissor. As my opponent sees that coming, she switches out, she goes out into her, which is her Octillery. So Octillery is not going to want to take this X Scissor too much either. It does a little bit over half, but her Moody activates, which gives her a speed boost, which is terrifying. But unfortunately for Sienna, I'm actually Choice Scarfed Dick Pinch, and I'm able to take out the Octillery in with another X Scissor. So thankfully she didn't outspeed me there, but you know, that could have definitely been a problem, I guess. But she's gonna bring out Tiny Feet again, so even though I get a Moxie boost, I'm gonna have to switch out because I don't want to take a super effective Acrobatics. I'm going to go back out into Weezing here, which I know can take any hit from this Fletchinder as she sets up a Swords Dance. And guys, this part of the battle is pretty stally, so I think in post-production I'm probably just going to speed this part up. But basically, she's going to spam the shit out of, not Sucker Punch, she's going to spam the shit out of Swords Dance. And I actually have Clear Smog on my Weezing, so I'm able to get rid of all of her stat changes. So, I'm just going to speed this part up. And basically, she's going to spam Swords Dance and Roost. I spam Clear Smog and Pain Split, and eventually I do get to the point where I'm just kind of like, you know what, I should just let Weezing go, that way I can bring out Bustanut and finish off this Fletchinder once and for all with a super effective electric type attack. Alright, so now that Weezing is out of the way, I'm pretty free to just bring in Bustanut here and go for pretty much anything at this point other than a Signal Beam, but I did actually predict the switch into the Maractus. I did go for the Signal Beam, which was kind of a risky play because she could have just set up with her Fletchinder there, and I would have been forced to switch out, but she does bring out the Maractus here, and Sienna decides to stall out the inevitable. She goes for the Spiky Shield here, which I'm not really sure why, but I'm not going to take any damage because I'm not using any physical attacks on the Spiky Shield, so I'm just going to be able to freely go for a third Signal Beam, and that is going to be able to take out the Maractus. So now her last Pokemon is the Fletchinder, so obviously I'm going to have to switch out here because a 4 times weak or 4 times resisted Signal Beam on the Fletchinder is not going to do much damage at all. And I'm just going to bring out my Chompy Bits, which is my Crocodile, and I'm just going to go for the Waterfall as my opponent predicts the switch. She goes for, or no, sorry, she didn't go for Swords Dance. She just goes straight for the Acrobatics. I do go for the Waterfall here as she goes for a second Acrobatics, and that is game. So good game to my opponent Sienna, and I definitely look forward to our next battle. If you guys enjoy this video, leave a like. I will also leave a link to Sienna's Twitter if you guys would like to challenge her sometime. That will be in the description below as well. I love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles.